folks, welcome back to an episode of Our Journeys. We are starting off the Guitarist on bass. I always want to do like a but I don't really know how that works because when I think of bass, it's like the doom, 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 you know, kind of like that, and but it's a guitar, so but, I don't know. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. Rough start. We're only going to get better from here because we can't get any worse. But Guitarist is in a good, it was a good position when I saw that his opponent was down to 7th, and I saw he's down to 12 himself. He only has a crossbow, and he is only going to have one creature that survives at this particular point. Unless Super Zucchini, which sounds delicious, puts down a guard. So Guitarist is now in a hairy situation. Officially hairy situation. And it's getting worse. So Super Zucchini, 3 cards in hand, very, very good cards to have, and is now going to be able to. I mean, it's yeah. I don't know what. Nope. That's wow. The deadest of hands. A pit lion that cannot be played, armed with 2 crossbows it can't use because it has no opposable thumbs. I'm sorry, Guitarist, that is a rough way to have to go out. We're going to go ahead and join now Danish 06. And we are at the very beginning of this game, the cusp of the game. No, not the cusp. Cusp of the game? Yeah, maybe it'd be the cusp. Am I saying that right? I think that's the right word. Cusp of the game. Anyway, at the beginning of the game, we were just talking about this actually. So Dawnfang, for those of you who don't know TESL lore, Elder Scrolls Legends lore, I was curious about Dawnfang because one of my beasts with it, I mean, it's one of the few items that in a roundabout way, can actually heal you by using it. Whereas, you got your snake tooth necklace, which it's +1, I think. So it's not a big buff to your stats, but it does allow you to drain 4 that one turn. Dawnfang is the next best thing in that regard, I would say. But it doesn't give you a buff to your attack, and it changes every single turn when it goes from dawn to dusk. So I was kind of like, you know what? It might mitigate it a little bit or make it a little bit more playable or make people more inclined to play it if you could actually somehow determine when it was dusk and when it was dawn. But I was like, well, but would that break the card? Would it make it too OP? And what about the lore? And someone actually told me that actually in the game that weapon changes from night to day. So it is very lore friendly in that regard. Mud Crab is going to sacrifice his life so that she can be a 3-1. Look at Danish. I mean, I think this is one of the first times I've seen it played, and we're on the ladder here, folks. And he got he was able to use it, the Sword, to its maximum effectiveness. Unfortunately, it's going to eat that edict, but he's got another Mud Crab Merchant to give him more juicy stuff. Or, a Morgtongue Nightblade. That's not terrible. You can ring it out, which is actually pretty good. But against Control Empire, which I would say especially with this guy, he's such a pain in the butt. Not terribly hard to make him proc either. If you have another creature in each lane. So if he had the ring, he'd be no, that's a healing potion. Never mind. I was gonna say he could play those 2, and then the guy comes down buff, but he doesn't really have. Oh, does he have a way to do it? Does he have one magic? He does not. Oh, he's gonna take away the kitty. All right. Well, Danish probably prefers being able to get a card off of that sleigh right there. All right, so I see Vinchenzo popped in here. We got some other folks, I believe, in the mix. I got a little nervous. I hopped in. There were only 6 people, and only one was playing. So it was another. I keep forgetting Sunday nights are not the hot time.
I won't need to hide any
but I
longer.
keep procrastinating because I don't learn my lesson, and then I'm in panic mode. Well, I mean, my panic, I'm super cool. I don't really get all that frazzled, so I just be like, oh man, oh no. But I don't panic. I don't wet myself anymore. So I just noticed the name of our opponent, Jervzmuzzik. Yeah, unfortunately the 3/4 can't attack its own creatures, otherwise we might have seen that mud crab die at the altar of card draw.
By the 8th, they will meet their mammoth duties.
Oof, whiff on that. I don't know that have we seen a strength card yet for Danish?
Bark and bird.
I don't believe so. So that's just really piss poor luck.
Have manners.
Okay, that's not too bad actually. I mean, he can play it this turn, so that's not great, but Gentleman Jim has been, oh yep, so there you go, there's Stormcloak. I mean, which is actually, it's a good card. It's going to allow him to, well, does he want the Tome or does he want Two-Face? Probably the Tome, I would imagine. But then he can't trigger the Stormcloak. All right. Le Poke. I mean, heck, he might just Stormcloak and Tome. That would be pretty cool, I guess.
The Nords must take back Sky.
There you go. There you go. And he gets to get his kitty thing back. Really not what you want to see at this particular point. You're looking for anything that help close the game out. Obviously, if he bites the big one, as long as he don't get silenced, Danish will have a 5/5 body to play, which is ideal at this particular juncture. But yeah, Gentleman Jim, we've gotten hosed by Gentleman Jim. He seems a little out of place just because it looks like revolutionary time.
I said good day.
You know, type attire. Like, you know, he'd be sitting there with George Washington and those folks. Not so much in the olden days, but I could be missing some context for that in terms of where he's at in the game, because usually these cards are pretty much on point with their looks. Like, I can't imagine somebody's like, we were going for medieval, why'd you give us colonial or, you know, colonial America? But I have to believe that meant to do it. All right. And so now he can play that big old Legion 0. No, he can't. He played it in the wrong lane, if in a manner of speaking.
The flood of cool.
I mean, it's still a 2/5, but he misses the buff on it. Definitely do not want to Woodcrafter that 3/3. You want him to die. Yeah. You don't want that guy to be able to drain. So yeah, so things aren't looking too bad for Danish. Although if he does go all in on Shadow Lane or Field Lane, he does run the risk of getting his entire army wiped out by Adon's Wrath, and he doesn't have enough resources, I think, to recover fast enough, and his opponent's not low enough. If his opponent was 8 or less, where you could poke with a couple lightning bolts, and he hadn't already used a lightning bolt, then maybe, ooh. No, there's one of the javelins, okay. But very smart, though. He was able to get him to burn it on that when he's going to be playing his Stormcloak this turn, I believe. Yep. All right. So he does still have a little something cooking in the back burner, but these are little tiny buddies. Not the Dawn's. Not the Dawn's Wrath. Maybe the Dawn's Displeasure, or the Dawn's... Sounds like I'm saying like the Dawn, like Don Flamingo from Punch-Out. Not the Dawn's Wrath. Ah, you risk my wrath, sir. I don't know what accent that was. I apologize for the ambiguity of my performance. So I just actually finished a 9,000 word email.
Clash for the ages.
Was not intending to make it 9,000. It just so happened to be 9,000. Does he have it? Oh, he does. Oh, yeah. Just enough with that. Nicely done, Danish. And couldn't let him finish. Well, that's unfortunate. But, hey. I get it. I mean, concede. Well, oh, that's concede efficiency. I mean, it saved him all of 3 seconds. But we will give Danish the GG, because that looked mighty fine, sir. GG. That looked... That was a strong... Go mud crab. It's nice when the mud crab gives you usable things. All right, Brother Ridge, nice. We do get to take a gander at Brother Ridge. Yeah, so I didn't realize it was going to go that long or be that extensive. The email, it's a personal email. It's not even like a business thing. It's just I enjoy talking with this person.
Nicely done.
And it went
This one thanks you.
9,000 words. So my brain's a little like, which I say that a lot. So it's really hard to claim that it's because. Interesting.
This one is embarrassed.
I was wondering, I was like, what grand master strategy does he have in play here? And that's a good response from Ronan Moon. Like, it's all good. Like, you don't want to say, like, there's so many different taunts you can do. But when somebody says, like, I made a mistake, it's really hard to find one that acknowledges and is like, I'm sorry, man, but isn't a jerk about it or doesn't seem like a jerk about it. But it looks like Brother Ridge is not going to be hamstrung by that little misplay there. So GG, Brother Ridge. Flawless. Hey, we've all been there. All right, there we go. Vinchenzo. I haven't got to see him in a while. Hoping to do some Destiny, finish our Destiny game. I skipped that bone bow. Yes, that's all right, though. That's why I gave you the winky face, my friend. For I knew that you had...
This one will do.
I'll try to think of attack voided. Double entendre with bone bow, but it's not worth it. It really just isn't worth it. It's low-hanging fruit at this point. Didn't realize I couldn't silence the creature that equips it.
I've got a job.
Yeah! But I mean, if you think about the logistics, think about the lore, how are you going to do this bow thing? And although, to be fair, silencing with a bow is really not conventional. I mean, yes, chances are if you shoot something with a bow, it will silence it, but it will also kill it. So, but I'm guessing bone bow, there's lore, there's context there where it does actually shoot a debilitating bolt or something that leaves the person alive but not able to speak or not able to do something. But on the face of it, it's like, yeah, well, no crap, it's a bone bow silence. This is also a sort of silencing. If I strike you with it, you won't say anything. Technicalities, folks. We're talking about technicalities here. But yeah, but just it's a funny mental image of somebody trying to. If I use this silence on myself, I can attack. I just gotta get the thing. Okay, here we go. Thunk. Oh, I'm guessing that would. Well, of course it's still. I'm trying to think like, if the arrow was that close, would it be more? I guess it would be, right? Because you don't lose any force over distance. So like you would have the full force of the bow and the arrow wouldn't have to fly anywhere. But I wonder if right, because you had to build to like, I mean, well, again, I'm mixing all kinds of stuff. I'm not a physicist, folks. I'm not even a terribly smart man. Like terminal velocity, the moment you don't hit terminal velocity the moment you fall out of a plane, like it takes a second for you to get there or however long. And obviously we're not talking about falling, we're talking about going straight, but it's like, does the arrow have more oomph? Does it have more piercing power, we'll say? Will it do more damage if you're really, really close to it or if you're further away? You would think being closer would be worse or do more damage, but at the same time, does the arrow need time to get momentum or something behind it? Like, is there a point of diminishing returns? Like, okay, you want it to be a certain number of feet away, but not too much, because after too much, it starts to lose the velocity. Or do you want it, so I don't know. All of this comes because I'm thinking about trying to self-silence with a bone bow. And just again, it's just a funny mental picture. Although it's not any funnier than some of these animals and stuff holding swords. I mean, come on, give Senshi Tiger a mace. How in the world is he going to hold a mace? Seriously, maybe with 2 paws, be like this, but it would look ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, this is the ridiculously darn cutest card. Wolf, he just, oh, my woman, mommy and daddy. But I don't want him to be that goofy looking alpha wolf that looks like a head that's way too big for the body and it's scraggly and looks like a deranged, not a deranged, what do you call that? What do you call them when they don't have the malnourished? I can't think of it. Mangy. It looks like a mangy dog. Now, I can't tell or not. This is a mage deck. So I'm not sure if this is Vincenzo's Babes of Tamriel deck or if this is something else. I really can't tell by the cards that he's playing now. I'm not sure which deck it is. It may just be just a regular mage deck. Well, I mean, we are in. Okay, never mind. We're in the arena, so he would not have been able to custom build this deck. So for that reason alone, I would say we're not seeing a Babes of Tamriel deck here. But he's doing just as well with it as if it was a constructed deck. That is the power of being good, folks. The power of being good. Let's go ahead and I don't want to stop it right in the middle. Yeah, they're not quite as terrifying when you're not invading with them. What is even that? What the hell is even that? Seriously. I mean, it kind of looks like a gremlin, but then it's kind of like a rat bottom. But you know what pisses me off with these things, though? Really, they all have muscle. Like, they've got they look ripped. They're jacked. They're like Bruce Lee musculature, for crying out loud. One, they don't work out. We know this for a fact. There's no way they hit a little goblin gym or a little invasion. There's no Oblivion gym. Ob gym. Well, that's a different kind of gym altogether, but you know, they don't do any of that, and yet they come to the battlefield looking all ripped and buff and whatnot. And it's like, come on, man! Like, it just don't seem right. Evil should not look all buff and whatnot, or evil minions. All right, so Vinchenzo. Let's see, Abner?
Let none defile our temple.
All right, folks. Anybody here named None? Do we have anybody here named None? You can come defile our temple by virtue of this man's words. Anybody named None, we have to let you defile our temple. He chose poorly. And Vinchenzo cleans up the board. And Imperial Guest, being a good sport about it, lets him do his thing. And Vinchenzo gets a GG in constructed. I am going to tease him a bit and ask him if that was his Babes of Tamriel deck. We'll see what he says. It should be interesting. But we do want to give Brother Ridge yeah, it was amusing to see that moment of poop. All right, let's see here. GG. Babes of Tamriel. Looking good. I'm such a stinker. Okay. Why aren't you all playing? Come on, do not make me do this. Don't make me do this. I can't just sit here. Hey, Yum Yum. Oh, Yum Yum. I love you, Yum Yum. I love you so much. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. Thanks, that was just arena though. Haha. He thought I was serious. I mean, there was no piercing twilight, so of course that couldn't have been his Babes of Tamriel deck. That's just not a thing. But we got Yum Yum 36, as you can see, top 10 player, also a prolific custom card creator.
The spirit speaks.
I know I said I was going to mix in some other cards as well, but I really do. The shouts have been kind of percolating for a long time, and a lot of work was put in there, so I want to make sure I get those in. But once those are done, you will be seeing a lot of cards from the likes of Yum Yum, Vinchenzo, Guitarist still has done a lot of other cards as well. I'm trying to remember. Io, I believe, has done some. But yeah, there's just a lot of very active creators who make these cards, and I don't have the link here necessarily because I've never used it. When I do my custom cards, I create them custom all the way. I just do Photoshop stuff. But apparently there is a card builder out there. If you were to search online for TESL card builder, it'll give you like a format you can, and I don't know if it'll let you select any image as a background, or if it gives you certain ones to choose from. I think you could pick anything. It'll insert that for you. You can change the values yourself. You just click and change, and then you can save it out as a PNG. And there you go. Then you've got your own custom card, and you can throw it in the mix and see what people think. But it really does give you an appreciation. Like if you try to make a custom card, it really, as you sit there and go, oh crap, well, there's another card here that does something similar and it costs a lot less. So what? But I don't want. You just made a card. It's like you're a parent. Like I don't want to create a child that nobody wants to play with. But at the same time, if I make it too awesome, nobody wants to play with it either, and it's going to get nerfed. So you got to find a right way to build the deck, and you just realize it's not as easy as this card seems cool.
See if you can outrun me. I doubt it.
This world holds many wonders.
And I mean, Yum Yum also, let's look at it. He's starting the season off, and he's playing veteran. Like, that's probably got to be the least played. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's probably the least played mechanic. You just don't see it all that often. At all. Ever. Now, to be fair, it's not. Well, okay, so that's a consume. Which Enraged Dragon Knight gets played in a lot of decks these days. But consume itself, we've seen it go off in different ways. Some people use I don't remember. Oh, let's see what he's pulling here. I'm gonna say in advance though, this is not gonna be an Alduin. Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing. That's what Midnight, and we've had people say, hey, Midnight Burial will be fine if it capped the Magic account for what you could put in there at like 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 or something, which that's part of it, but I would say Reanimate is kind of the big one, because Reanimate is a 9 cost, puts the card on the board, and there's already multiple ways to get something in the discard pile prematurely. You can camel it in there. You can, anything that allows you to discard a card. You can use your little Pilfer Kitty. You can use Palace, not Conspirator. The guy who's like, would you like a bow? No, that's the action guy. Okay, I can't remember his name. Maybe it is Palace Conspirator. Anyway, there's different ways to do it. There may not be a ton of them, but there are other ways to do it. Nice, exact lethal. Didn't have to touch his Magicka. Well done, Yum Yum. I will congratulate him and be thrilled that he is back in the saddle, because I haven't seen him in a long time. Ah la 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 long, ah la 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 long, 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 long. But I'm pretty sure we already said that like last week. But still, it still stands. Yeah. Wondered why I didn't see Piercing Twilight. Yeah, man. I was just saying that Veteran gets almost no love these days. Great to see someone trying to make it relevant. All right, so we'll get another Vinchenzo in the arena game. We don't get to see a whole lot of arena these days. And arena is just fun. You're just going to see so many cards you don't normally see. Ravenous Crocodile. Although, I mean, a lot of these cards I'm looking at, I'm like, well, actually, Prophecy Heavy decks, you'll see Pointing Wall and Knight of the Hour, actually. Ravenous Crocodile you see in Stealth Harm decks, although those aren't as prolific as... I don't even know that they ever were. It's like, if you were to have like 20 decks, one of them might be a self-harm. And then there's the Self-Silence, which is probably just as rare. Veteran, probably one of. There probably might be 2 or 3. Consume, maybe, and then the same number, maybe less. I don't typically see a lot of Expertise. And then what's the other one? Empower. Don't see that one at all either. That might be just as rare as Veteran. I mean, you'll see a couple of those, but I mean, yeah. I mean, we are seeing more Guildsworn, which is not Guildsworn. Sorry. We see more Dominion these days, but nobody's really trying the Empower mechanic, except for a good old Tusk. Tusk Shadows loves. Which one is it? Oh, jeez, I'm getting eaten alive here by bugs in the house. Soul Shred. I mean, that card is, as far as I'm concerned, that card is synonymous with Tusk Shadows. So he does still play it, still finds ways to play it. But that's pretty much the only Empower card I think that gets a lot. I mean, which is kind of cool though, because Soul Shred really isn't the sexiest. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, I can. I'm trying to think like Empower. Well, I know. I guess. I mean, Channeled Storm. Channeled Storm does get a lot of play. A lot of play. So I guess it has representation in many decks, but it is never. Nobody leans into it. It's not a mechanic that people are trying to base decks around. But I mean, that's kind of a slippery slope in a manner of speaking as well. Like how committed do you have to be to a certain mechanic to consider that the deck is a veteran deck, a consumed deck? Do you have to be playing 90% of the cards? You have to play a certain number of the cards. Like how many is enough to say that you're going in heavy on it? Because even Exalt, which I really like, even in Exalt decks, I won't run all the Exalt cards because just some of them I'm like, it doesn't work with what I'm trying to do, or I just don't particularly like the card in general. I'm like, it's. So I just never know. But I mean, it's the same kind of thing. It's a little, it kind of ties in with when people say, oh, this is my Chandles. I don't know how to say that. Why did I pick this card? I could have picked anything else. Cheydinhal Snapper. Cheydinhal Sapper. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. This is my Cheydinhal Snapper deck. Cheydinhal Sapper deck. Darn you, N. This episode brought to you by the letter N. I'm going to sneak into all the words and make Sapper a Snapper. The Cheydinhal Sapper. Oh, goodness gracious. Can't even keep a thought in my brain. It all went out when I sneezed. The Cheydinhal Sapper deck. Because you run 3 copies of this one particular card. It's like I built my deck around this. I mean, like a Doomcrag. I mean, which I would say Doomcrag, obviously, it's more unique. Like Cheydinhal doesn't have anything except for it's a low-cost drain. So it's not like you wouldn't say that legitimately. But it's just weird when it's, people will name a deck after one card that is found in it. And it's like there's so many different things you do, unless you're saying this deck does not function without that card. Which honestly, that's the biggest problem with Doomcrag. Is that little turd muffin is very shy, and he'll hide. Oh, how does this work? If he hits the pointy wall, does it die? Or does it? I mean, does it push back on? Does it deal that 4 damage back to? Well, we'll see. It does. Shocking for the Wamasu. And good news for Vinchenzo. 1 damage is exactly what he needs to be able to take that giant down. So he ain't looking too bad here, folks. And he does have the Knight of the Hour to give himself a little bit more. He's not in dire straits, but then of course he's got his sappy snapper, his snappy sapper.
You thought of it.
He's snappy snapper, snappy snap snap snaps.
You've got to go
And
through him.
the game has definitely shifted heavily in Vincenzo's favor with a decent board. I mean, granted, two of those cards are 0-5, so they're not really doing much. What's interesting is she looking at a TV? Yeah.
Perhaps we can help.
Oh, they call it a wall. You know that's just a TV. She's like, let's see what's happening in Tamriel. Oh, there's that one awesome video that Encano did. I want to see it on the ViewTube. Well, that'll teach you to conjure a TV in the place where you shouldn't be conjuring TVs. I wish there was a called name, called None the Gatekeeper or None the Defiler or something. I don't know. We already have a Defiler in here, don't we? Actually, yeah, that would work. None the Defiler. And he's like, let none defile our temple. And it's like, well, thank you. Happens to be my name. Alright, Vinchenzo's showing some discipline there, not eager to punch face. Which may have thrown Lagging Panda off a little bit, or Lagging Panda's just thinking, how can I pull this game off? I mean, it is, at this point, kind of Vincenzo's to lose with what he's got at the moment. It's always the nerve-wracking thing when you're ahead, but you're not. It's not a guaranteed thing like he does. I mean, he's got some decent cards in his hand. You know, it's not like he's starved for options if he goes face and doesn't hits a prophecy or something like that. But you get far enough ahead, and it's like the only way I lose this game is if I give my opponent too many cards too fast. Oof! Yeah, look at that. That's actually a really nice effect, too. And Fuego! Yeah, that's Ring of Fire. Just gonna give it to the crocodile?
So much work yet to do.
Oh, no, okay. For some reason, I thought she could only give it to a neutral card. That's the little Dwemer dude. He gives only neutral creatures the buff. She can do it to anybody, but it turns them into a neutral. She turned me into a neutral. A neutral? I got better. Anybody get that reference? I mean, it's not verbatim, obviously. I tweaked it, but Baldric, I know you get it. Sorry, sometimes I just the music in this game, it's. I mean, and same thing with Skyrim in general. There's just a lot of great music. My favorite track I've actually got the Skyrim soundtrack on LP, and I think it's side G is like the Bannered Mare, any of the inns and stuff. Is dun 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 dun. It's really good music. I really enjoy it. But even the stuff in the caves and everything, it's kind of chill. It's kind of mellow. This music, I mean, the composers they have, I really should learn who they are. Because we know, is it Alan Shore? Oh gosh, I feel bad. Who did Lord of the Rings? I think that's his name. And of course you got Danny Elfman. And I'm I can't remember who's the guy that did The Rock. I can't remember now. You know his name if you heard it, but there's just and of course you got John Williams and the guys who did Last Mohicans. It was a good soundtrack, but never heard of them. I don't know that anything else that they've done. So I don't know that they were one-hit wonder or not, but that was kind of a one. Trevor something, or something Trevor. Trevor's in the first name and the last name, but he's one of the two. Really good soundtrack. Anyway, I don't know how I got off on that. Oh, but just it's one of those things where if you let yourself lull for a moment, you start hearing the music, you just kind of get in this little transic state. It's like, oh crap, wait, I'm not just listening to music. I'm doing things. I'm squishing my leather. Wow. Whoa. This is Arena? What the
Please excuse
what?
Khajiit.
No, you drafted that deck, Lagging Panda. There is no excuse for you. Pretty sure you knew what you were doing. And if you didn't, the taunt sure makes it seem that way. I mean, he doesn't. Yeah, all he can do is no, Frost Atronach won't do it either. He's still gonna take 11 damage here. Vinchenzo, I'm sorry, man.
Speak.
I mean, really, to find that in freaking arena? Seriously?
The error was mine.
Man. Well, maybe Vinchenzo knows Lagging Panda, and that it was a legitimate apology, but seriously, how do you find a way to... This episode is sponsored in small part by, you guessed it, the legendary Remnant Discord. It is a great sponsor of this show. It keeps us going. It is completely inconsequential in that regard, but it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of great people there, so come on down, check it out. That you can talk about the current cards that exist, the cards you wish to exist, i.e. custom cards, which is what we're about to see here in the true sponsor of today's video, which is the Elemental Wind Fury, a card from the brilliant mind of Guitarist. It is a neutral shout. It is part of the new and improved shout package, improving some shouts and coming up with other ones altogether. This one, of course, is neutral, as we saw, 2 cost, shout level 1. Your creature hits first in battle for this turn. Sorry, your creatures, so multiple. So any of the creatures hit first on this turn. Second one, your creatures hit first in battle till the end of your next turn. And the third one, your creatures hit first in battle till the end of your second next turn. So I guess 2 more turns. And so I actually didn't do research on this, but I reached out to Guitarist because I was like, wait, don't you always hit first? If it's your turn, don't you hit first? And I don't really realize this unless you've played something like Magic the Gathering. But in those games, as I understand it, in TESL, we're attacking at the same time. So if I have my 2/2 body attacking a 3/5 body, my card will die, obviously, because it's doing its 2 damage at the same time that the other card is doing its 3 damage to my card. And because I have less health than its damage and it has more health than my damage, it survives. But apparently, like in Magic the Gathering, if I'm attacking, I hit your card with my 2/2 and it does 2 damage. My 2/2 does not take damage because it is attacking. And so because it is hitting first. And so my understanding is, and this was not confirmed by Beaters, this is just my assumption, that is as long as I don't kill that card, as long as that card still exists, my opponent can then counterattack me with it if he so chooses and do those 3 damage and wipe my card out. But on my turn, my card does not perish, even if it is not properly statted. So it's a different dynamic. I never thought of it that way. I'm thinking of initiative in terms of you're the one initiating the fight, but in TESL, the damage is being done simultaneously. Whereas what this card is saying is you get to hit, do your damage. And I mean, let's say you had a 5/2 and you're going up against a 4/4. So your card in TESL right now, the 5/2 and the 4/4 would cancel each other out. They would cancel each other out. But in this way, you would do your 5 damage, but you wouldn't take the 4 damage from your opponent. So your opponent's card is gone. Your card is still there. And when it comes back around to your opponent's turn, they no longer have a card to kill your card with. So it really, I mean, if I'm understanding that correctly, that is a big deal. That is huge. But I see the number 2 and I'm like, well, that can't be all that. Like, I mean, like situational. I mean, maybe, yeah, but I mean, like, I don't understand what the point of it would be if you attack, you don't take the damage, but you take the damage at the end of your turn, whether the card is there or not. Like, maybe that's the case. But like, why would you, what would be the big deal about your card surviving briefly if it dies at the end of the next turn? So it seems to be a pretty powerful effect in a game where everybody else is there attacking at the same time and your cards are trading off. It's a big deal saying, oh no, my card is attacking. Your card's just sitting there and taking it. Like, you're not hitting me back. I am attacking you and you're just going to take it until your next turn. So, but I like the fact that it is actually introducing a mechanic from a different game that is, or a way of playing from a different game that is very, very foreign, even though, of course, Magic the Gathering came first. For those of us who aren't initiated in it, who don't remember all the different factors that are involved, the fact that this card is actually saying, oh, hey, here's a different way to play a collectible card game. Here's, this concept of it being able to attack first. So anyway, and also the card art, it took me a second. I'm not going to lie. Maybe you guys saw it initially. It took me a second to see what I was seeing here exactly. Sorry, we got gnats in here. Crazy. It's an arrow. It's a bow with the arrow pulled back, and it looks like it's being aimed at a crevasse or maybe just a wall. I mean, it makes sense that it's a crevasse, but it's aimed at something. So yes, that's the arrow, and then you got the little bow there. Anyway, really cool looking card. I'd like to see maybe a little bit more of the person, just so I know I could tell right at a glance. It took me a second. I'm like, what exactly is this? But I was like, is that a dragon wing? No, it's just the bow happens to be very elaborate. But anyway, it's cool art. But yeah, I would say for the cost, for 2 costs to be able to, in theory, if I'm taking this right, that would be free attack. Like your creatures can attack anything, and they're not going to take damage. And even if you don't kill their creature, you may have weakened the creature enough that when it attacks you, it wouldn't have died before, but now it will. Like you attacked a 2/4 with your 2/2. And so you got it now it's a 2/2. So if your opponent wanted to attack, otherwise, originally it would have been a favorable trade for your opponent, but now it's an equal trade because you were able to get that damage done. So it seems like a big deal, honestly. And I question my interpretation of it just because of how cheap it is. But then again, you ask, okay, well, it is conditional. I mean, it presumes that you are going to trade with your opponent versus go hit them in the face. And that you can, and that they're not in the shadow lane or in another way that you can't actually get to them. But I mean, even for one turn, that's a big deal, I would say. And turn 2, or that second one, being able to hit first until the end of your next turn. So yeah, so it'd be the next turn essentially, and then for 2 turns, that just seems like a lot of time to be able to punch your opponent's cards. And them having to respond to you at the start of their turn if they actually want to trade. But I mean, it's altering the way the game is played in favor of one player, but it's not. Again, it is dependent on a bunch of other factors. It's not just like a destroy this card or whatever. So maybe that's why it's so deep. I would say for that. I mean, really, can you put a number on that? It depends on what cards you've got and what cards they've got. So it is very, very situational. The question then is it more likely to be favorable, incredibly favorable in most situations, or is it more likely to be an almost negligible, effect? But I may be interpreting it wrong. It could be that your opponent does eventually do damage, but yeah, it wouldn't be that you do damage and then it does damage right back to you, because that's the same thing. So it has to be you do damage to the card and it doesn't do any damage to you for your turn. Is how I am interpreting it. But then again, I had to ask, what do you mean your creatures hit first? Don't they always hit first? And so he gave me that explanation. So anyway, it's an interesting card, much, much simpler than some of the other ones. Really one very brief line, but I somehow managed to make a mountain out of a molehill. But it's very cool. It's a great concept, and it's a great way to say, hey, there's other games out there, and this is how they're played. And makes you appreciate TESL even more, at least for me. But and anyway, thanks for taking a gander at the cards. Peters, thank you so much for giving me something to chew on with my brain. And now let's get you all back to the games. That kind of rhymed. I'm not crying, you're crying. It just makes me sad now. I don't get angry, I just get sad. All right, let's see some... Banish. Do it again. Looks like he might, but he's up against Ron Supreme on Telvanni, who is in the normal position. The only difference is, well, we do see there's an Incano there. And that gives him exactly, it's a little scary, because still, oh no, he can't get a prophecy, never mind. Okay, so a little, just for all of you watching, order of operations, you want to hit with the 2 first, so that you do not break the rune. You don't have to worry about a last second prophecy that could screw you over. But Danish was kind of taking his time on that one a little bit anyway, throwing out the mechanical cart, which it's good to see the card in play. I just wish it could have been a little more relevant. Let's see. And we didn't respond to the last one, so again, it's not a sour grade thing. I just take that as a possible indication that somebody doesn't want to be disturbed, and so I'm not going to keep pushing it. So Guitarist against Omraj from the Dragonborn, and we are in an event. I didn't bother doing my homework. I don't even know what the event is, but clearly it is not a lane defining tournament. It's got to be the kind of deck that you're allowed to play. It's not a mono thing, although Omraj has chosen to go mono agility. Mono agility and Gabos to boot. And wow. Guitarist is already
Fires of oblivion.
kind of at a loss here. I mean, in theory, he could provoke a trade with the 2-3. Well, no, never mind. You wouldn't do that anyway because you can't actually trade. Yeah. So he's gonna get the curse, 2 curses. If that's 2 curses, actually, that's well, would have been game over were not for a prophecy. But even still, if those are 2 curses, he's gonna say goodbye to Daggerfall. Okay, well, Omraj is paying cards other than just that, and I mean they're not as permanent, but they're just as effective in terms of keeping him going here. So I could argue, well, Soul Split. Yeah. I think that's the ticket right there. He's gonna take 7, 9. Oh, for crying out loud! I'm sorry, Guitarist. Ain't that the way? Helpful. So Guitarist has gotten 2 prophecies, which is nice, but can't really beat opponent's draw. I mean, him being able to put out that 3-2, that is a very rare occurrence. For those who don't know, that 3-2, if you have it in your hand when the game starts, you can play it for 1. It's normally a 2 cost, so you get a 3-2 for 1. As an aggro deck, that you can't ask for better than that. That's a great combination there, and does not get the good rolls. I mean, Soul Rest Marshal isn't bad, but in this situation, it's abysmal. You just needed a guard, drain, something to help stabilize. He did this turn 4. Yeah, he's done, unfortunately. Nice shiny premium Night Mother, but barring another prophecy, now he has got 2 prophecies, so we might see another one to kind of help him. But like I said, you can't. I mean, goblins are a problem even if you don't. Even if they don't get super lucky on there, like if they have to wait 1 turn to play a card, they're still a problem. But if you get that kind of start, nah, you're up against it. And then you get the 4/4 that buffs +2, which Aros has argued is overpowered, and I would agree. Battle against other players using cards from 2016 to 2017 is blast from the past. Okay, so of course that makes people think, let's go back to Goblins. Probably some orcs in there as well if we were to see some more. Let us see Brother Ridge here. See if he has mastered the bone bow. Oh my gosh. This is a rematch. Right? Wait, no. Is it? I remember Super Zucchini, but I don't remember if he was the one playing Brother Ridge when we first started or if he was after that. No, because Brother Ridge, no, it was not. Okay, so this is our second Super Zucchini match, but he was doing the pings and was able to clear off our friend's board. I don't remember who it was that was playing. It wasn't Vinchenzo because he's been in the. It was probably Guitarist. Yeah, I think it was Guitarist. Because I did that awesome mouth riff with them. That isn't a bass, but kind of sort of works. But all right, it's cool. And we do see the bone bow is waiting to be used. So right, this is an event, so not an arena. which means this is 2016, 2017. So kudos to both Super and Brother for playing cards that are not just, oh, hey, well, I don't know. I guess I think 2016 had to be the first year the game was played, because I remember playing in 2017. It was pretty new back then. So I'm guessing 2016 was the first core set release. But Zucchini's seeing that Brother Ridge is on the offensive, and he's still got a nice number of cards in there, and some very effective ones. And he's got the silence and the breakthrough that is going to make those guards pretty much. I mean, that does help. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see Factotum's being played and actually doing a little something. Like once Workshop came out, it just seemed like
This day is alive.
people stopped playing Factotums just as Factotums. Whereas you had, Justin Larson stuff would do like, Giants and Robots or something in Robots and, be playing a Factotum deck. Now it's like, unless you're bastardizing Workshop, nobody touches anything to do with Factotums. And even then, it's just the Titan. Suzuki keeping the offensive on is not shying away, which you could say is smart, just because it's not like.
Keep your distance.
There you go. Maybe you'll see the relentless later. Ooh, and he uses both silence. I mean, the dangerous thing we know is the Factotums are coming down in droves now, so we're probably going to see a lot more guards. So that Warhammer is going to be a big deal. A lit, relentless raider. I mean, he's got a lot of reach here. He's got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that he can do next turn in his hand. If he has to do breakthrough, though, he can do what? 6 plus 1. Never mind. See, there it is. There's the guard.
What have we here?
But Afflicted Lit Ice Bite get around that. Can do 4. He just needs to be able to punch in 3, which he can. Relentless can do 1, and with the hammer, no, never mind. Oh wait, no, hammer, work, and Relentless. Yes, he can push 1, which no, still won't break a rune. What am I thinking? Goodness gracious me! Goodness gracious me! Oh no, yeah. Well, it pulls 1 damage. That makes it down to 6. Okay, but it gets rid of the guard. Is my point, I guess. But Barbas has charge. Okay. Using the reach, using the draw first. That's the rule. If you're gonna draw first, if you're gonna draw at all, draw first.
This might be handy.
Okay, and she. And I'm thinking, yeah, there you go. Yep, that's what I was thinking. Just go ahead and play that down. Oh, I forgot it could regen. Wow, that's. Oh boy, I didn't see that either, Brother Ridge. Did not see that either. And the good news, he's got 2 plus that. He's got ways to make it happen. The problem is Zucchini has 8 points to do on this turn. And got lethal. That's also not great. And he's not going to be able to get through. He needs Barbas to be able to have that Orcish Warhammer. And so, yeah, it's going to be. Ooh. All right, folks. This is the time when you have to remember. I mean, it's not a top deck, but the only card that was going to get the job done, and Brother Ridge pulls it off. And I mean, hey, that is something to think about, folks. When it comes down to race, and when your opponent's getting aggressive and everything, it's certainly not wrong to be trading to get to get, because we saw his opponent was very close to turning it around and actually winning if he did not get that Encano, but his opponent was giving him cards on the regular. What? Encano. So yeah, I mean that's the trade-off. All right, we want to see Guitarist get a W here. Come on, Guitarist. So, but I mean, so again, it's not saying that that's right or wrong, but that's the risk you take when you continue to give your opponent's cards all the trick in the book. Yep, just draw Encano. That's you just gotta. As long as you practice that, as long as you've got your Encano draw down, would be really funny because I know there's some people that. Oh, he's watching Brain. Okay, there you go.
Outmatched.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, look, I have brain farts all the time, so I'm not one to challenge or to laugh at anybody. But there are some plays where they make a little more sense if you understand the person's attention is divided. But yeah, that was good to see. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. It's, you know, you don't you run if you don't. That's a great answer from Craven. Does he have another leaf lurker or finish off? Oh my gosh.
Just give me a name.
The lucky lady indeed. I mean, that's a nice. Oh my gosh, but Guitarist arguably even luckier.
The city is safe.
No? I mean that's good. He's keeping that damage. Oh, maybe he had lethal right there. Did he? 7, 8, 9, 10?
Stay back.
Does he have it? If not,
It's
then
nothing.
okay. I was gonna say the Guitarist has it.
Hit them hard.
Dumont, take you.
Yikes. Mummify, Prophecy, usually fantastic here. This would be. I mean, it does. So it puts him down. So it sucks that. I mean, it doesn't do anything more, but it does. Oh my gosh! Seriously. Wow, what a charmed life. Now that, granted, that's pretty darn good. But yeah, Guitarist. So Guitarist just getting the raw deal on the ladder today, or in the game. Unfortunately, and we've just seen him. He just cannot get a break. Now I'm cooking with crap. Regen. Oh. I don't think I've seen a full episode of Breaking Bad. Oh no! No, what are you doing? Where are you? Why? Why feel stuff? There you go. Oh, good. Thank you, Brother Ridge. Thank you for playing even though you're watching Breaking Bad too. Oh, and we'll see if Craven is just on a hot streak. See what kind of draw he's got here. Because that was pretty darn good. It's one thing when you can address one or two of your opponent's threats, but when you can, with less than a full hand, easily be like, okay, you have a powerful creature, either it's gone or it's shackled. Okay, you have, this, I don't know, this card that would be very effective next turn. I'm going to be able to wipe it out. Like, usually you can stop one or two threats, so be able to neutralize 3 threats or thereabouts, 2 or 3 turns in a row with 6 cards or less. That's pretty fortunate. So we'll see. We'll see if that holds up against Brother Ridge. Or if his Ancano, I mean, he's got, this is a, excuse me. And I think he did send me a deck. I think this might be it where it's, no, he got through a ton of ranks with a mid-range warrior. So it had some orcs in it, but it wasn't heavy orc necessarily, and it was mid-range. It was there to play. It wasn't aggro. And that, I think that got him like 3 levels or something. So there's the Spooter that we saw last game. The exact same one. I can tell that it's the same one because he's got this thing right here. He's got 24 of these little spiky things on his mouth. The other 2 versions have different numbers. Nicely done. Do love those Relentless Raiders. Apparently, they used to have a different effect. So Brother Ridge might be able to close this, but this is pretty much burn Battle Mage, and he might just be able to close this thing out. Oof! It's another. So he's got 6 minus 1. That's 7. So he's got him down to 6 plus the Orcish Warhammer. I think you want to go Orcish Warhammer on Camlorn. So you punch him for 2, get him down to 11, then you. Yep, there you go. Throw that hammer. Throw on the hammer. Do you want me to see me put down the hammer? I'll put down the hammer. Oh, and if he had just gone face.
You have this one's gratitude.
If he had just gone face, he would have lethal lightning bolt next turn, but he did not do that. And that, oh my gosh, not another. So I was just about to say, and it looked like Craven's luck has run out, but it did not. And so now he has Brother Ridge in a tight spot. Oh, Brother Ridge, gotta hit the button, buddy. Oh, I can't hit it for you. I'm trying. Yeah. Dude, this guy has got the heart of the cards, as we say. The heart of the cards is a euphemism for RNG, like,
It's nothing.
just RNG loves you. That's what that means. So it was good, smart playing by Brother Ridge. 2 prophecies, obviously one of them much worse than the other one. But oh man, if he had the 8 magic, game over. But obviously that's not what happened. So we'll see. Barbas good. Barbas is good. Lightning bolt into afflicted lit.
This is interesting.
I mean, you do see Craven is running. I mean, you don't see Moonlight Werebat unless you're running a pretty prophecy heavy deck, or you're like, I need to put prophecies in my deck. So that's a big one there. So you can go lit and quartermaster. And he does damage to himself, which is dangerous because Craven is building up a board as we speak, but he's got Barbas to push for 3 with a dagger. That's 4, so he just needs to do 2 damage here, which he got Camlorn. That's 9. He does not have. But again, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what it was. It's like it neutralizes everything that he has on the board somehow, and that could very well be the game. Let's see. He can't go Barbas into. Oh, what can he do? What can he do? Barbas 6. He cannot do it. He's 1 magic short of going Barbas, Steel Dagger, and Morgul Gatekeeper. Oh no. No. Yep. And once again, yeah. Two prophecies, which this one made a difference. The Brotherhood, the prophecy made it, as A-Ross's alternate account will tell you, that prof mattered. So yeah, Brother Ridge was doing really well today, but we've seen now Craven in his end game have. Now, granted, he has got a lot more cards in his hand, so it's not, and that's not a slight on him. So Brother Ridge going for just trying to stay alive this turn, and he will do it. Well, it seems like he has done it, but I can almost guarantee you Craven has a charger that's going to end this game. Yep, it's over.
You have this one's
Sorry, Brother Ridge. Oof. Prophecy, but not enough.
It's nothing personal.
You will die, you stand.
Cliff Racer?
The forest.
No. All right, so yeah, lucky lady indeed. Lucky lady. I mean, you want to say it's just observation, or it's just happenstance, but when you see games like with Guitarist, who plays well and just at the crucial time does not have what he needs, or his opponent does, loses 3 or 4 games, and then you see, now granted, it's a small sample size, only 2 games we saw by Craven, but you just see the kind of draws or the kind of plays he's able to make, and you're going, Again, it's not a slight against him as a player. You play the cards you got. I mean, the game gives you the cards, but it's just, yeah, man. I watched another game with him tonight. Very fortunate draws. Yeah. So the game giveth, the game taketh away. All right, let's go. We'll do check out Raxton. I think that's going to be our last one of the day, of the evening, as it were, just so that I can get this thing edited before the stroke of midnight. That was actually something. So one of my friends was telling me, could not believe this. Let me check this out. So, Brother, I'm realizing I'm bad at 2016 TESL. It's a relic from a bygone era. And RNG.
The hist heals and rejuvenates.
And RNG makes anyone bad. So
Stands ever ready.
I had a friend, she had a sibling who got in a severe car accident. So he's on the way to the hospital with his wife to have their baby. Like that's why they're going. That's why they're driving, is to give birth to their son.
The hist heals
And
rejuvenates.
roads are really slick, fallen tree. He tries to avoid it. Wet road, slippery, goes off. Believes she ended up with like a broken neck, broken arm. He had like a shattered pelvis and like 2 or 3 other major injuries, and they lost their baby. And now, fortunately, the family rallied around him, and they both recovered physically and to a degree emotionally anyway. And they were able to give birth to their first son. So there was, kind of after a situation like that, it's like the best case scenario. But I don't say that as a downer, but just to go, one, like, you think this stuff is just in movies, like when you see, like, you watch something happen in a movie, you're like, okay, come on, you're laying it on pretty thick here. You're trying to give us the feels. You're trying to make us go, oh my gosh. So you're like, oh, not only did they get injured, but whatever, now the kid. And it's like, but no, that actually happens. There are people that have that great misfortune in life where those kinds of things do happen. It's just like one thing on it. It's bad enough to get an accident, bad enough to you lose your car and get injured of any kind. But to get severely injured yourself and then have your loved one get severely injured, and then you lose a child that you are about to welcome into the world the same day, that is just devastating. But the point is that he blamed himself, and you could argue maybe he was. I don't know any. I don't know any of the circumstances there, but you could maybe conceivably say, well, maybe he was driving a little too fast, trying to get there anxious. Which, who of us wouldn't be doing that if that was the case? But any number of things where it's like, technically speaking, maybe could have been safer, but it wasn't. Wasn't like he was driving reckless or doing something stupid. But yet he still blamed himself. And there's a part of me, and I'm tying this back to TESL, because even though it seems very trite in comparison, it's the concept, which is that you wonder, is there something psychologically that we find more comfort
I feel
in being able to blame something, even if it's ourselves, for a tragedy? Is it more comfortable to do that than it is to think that something happened that we had absolutely zero control over that could completely destroy our lives? Is there a false sense of comfort, or not a false sense, but is that of more comfort to blame yourself and go, I screwed up. If I just hadn't been doing this, none of this would have happened. Is it more comforting to do something like that, even though you're accusing yourself and you're blaming yourself? Is it more comforting to do that than it is to say, life happens? Because it is a scary thing, and that's when it comes to TESL. And I've said this before, I would rather lose a game, as painful as it is. I would rather lose a game because I made a stupid mistake, I misplayed, I missed a lethal, something like that. Those losses are exponentially easier to swallow than ones where, what else could I have done? I didn't have a turn. I didn't have a card to play until turn 4. My opponent had 6 of them. I got they got prophecies as soon as I tried to hit back. Any number of things, and you're just like, I never had a chance. And so it's more frustrating. It's more aggravating to lose when you feel like you never had a chance to begin with, where the elements out of your control all were going to kind of conspired against you. Those are, I think, much more difficult to handle and to accept than just saying, oh crap, I misplayed, I punted it. Like, you can go, oh gosh, that's so frustrating, but you can at least blame. You can say that it wasn't out of my control. I could have done something. Like, the world is not beyond my reckoning. I can, master space and time to do my bidding. I just have to be smarter about it and not drop it all over the place. So I don't know if that's an existing theory, psychological theory, if that's actually just a statement. I can definitely tell you from what I've seen in the past few years, there are people who will gladly embrace a lie if the truth makes them uncomfortable. They will convince themselves of a certain truth, especially if it means they don't have control. If you were to say, look, something's going to happen, and in the next 2 years, X number of people are going to die. It's just going to be that way. Something's going to happen, and this number of people are going to die. There are people that would rather believe that they can change that they have some control over whether they live or die or not. They just go, okay, well, it's going to happen, and we'll just see what it is. Like, oh, hey, if you say 25 Hail Marys, experts say that you'll be able to avoid the coming cataclysm. I'm not picking on Catholicism. I just was trying to think of something that might be some kind of that some people might believe. Well, if I do this, then
See you later.
wow. Okay, so I thought Raxon had this wrapped up here. If he can keep his dragon on the board, he's got a chance. Well, Odaving is awesome on curve here. He's been sitting in Raxon's hand. I'm waiting. Release me. Oh, never mind. Moot point, as it were. Raxon, see, heart the cards, people. The difference.
It's been an engaging hunt.
GG Raxon. The difference when you got the cards you need to play and when you don't is big. Doesn't mean, again, it's not taking anything away from anybody as a player. As I said, Craven it seemed like a good sport, good player. You don't blame somebody for the draw they get. He's not manipulating the game. It's not like a cheat. So it's not a slight on anybody. But GG. Always tense against late game Ebensley. Yeah, once Ebensley gets up there, 15, 16 Magicka, that's when you get your Rages and Night Town Lords all in one turn, and it's just over. Schwarzy, how you doing, man? Oh, sleepy. Sleepy. But happy. How about you? So it just makes how desperate we can be, or how frustrated, how angry we can get, and how terrified we can get if we do not believe that we really have any control, and what degrees we will go, how deceptive we will be, or how self-harming we can be. And I don't mean like physically, I just mean in terms of our mental state. Would you rather blame yourself? Now, I'm not saying that in this particular instance with this friend that there was no blame to go around, but will we go to those extremes in order to think that we have more control over our lives than we actually do? Because that is the fact that RNG exists in real life. And you were. So anyway, it's just something to think about. It's something to think about. I mean, again, tragedy. All good. Just chilling with this friend. I'm about to sleep. That is a good plan, my friend. I'm about to do the same. Alrighty. Have a good night. But I finished that off right. Okay. So, yeah, just something to think about. Just something to think about, thinking to ponder. And if nothing else, just be grateful when... Oh, nice. Oh, perfect. Nice. I was tired then, too. But we had a good time for a few hours. All right. And there we go. So, So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you very much for playing. I've ruined the line again. Dagnabbit. Well, that's just byproduct of... I got to tell you what, folks. Well, no, I can't say that. We might be... We don't know. The move is happening in the next 3 weeks. Well, probably 2 weeks within there. So it could be as few as like 2 days. It could be as many as 10. So I don't know how the sleep is going to be, how my time in front of the camera is going to be. But I promise you this. Starting in September... The quality is going to be back up to where it was. You're going to have less scatterbrained, less whatever. I'm going to be settled in. I'm going to be in my element. And yes, I'll be looking for a job, so I probably won't have as much time, but it's going to be better. But unfortunately, it is going to be a little bit of wait because things are still in flux and they're just getting crazier. But anyway, thanks for bearing with me. And until next time, keep playing.